If you allow yourself to play the game of numbers where your numbers are only real numbers, or in other words, all real numbers. So if you're only playing with real numbers, which we say XER, so we say this E here, which is not really, it's not an English E, right? It's more like a in the Cyrillic alphabet, Greek alphabet. This is actually an E as a first letter for the word element. That simply means that the guy who is on the left is an element of the thing that is in the right. So X is an element of R. And what is that R? Now, because this R looks fancy, it's not just a regular way of writing R in English. It has like two lines here. Whenever you see two lines in the beginning of a letter, and it's a big capital letter, that in mathematical notation represents the name for the set of certain things. R represents the name for the set. Set means a basket, right? Some whatever, some combination, some culture, some community of some things, right? So it's a community of numbers, a community of real numbers. Now, real numbers, it has nothing to do with the royal or with the reality. It is straightforward from the definition, certain definition. There are certain numbers, if you square them, they will never be less than zero. Never. So if you are one of those numbers, you are a real number. That's the definition of real numbers. If you square me, I'm an X, right? I'm somebody. I'm a member of community of some numbers. And if in my community, any one of us, upon being squared, never produces a negative answer, a negative number, if we never become negative, if we get squared, then we are a real number. These are real numbers, right? These are regular numbers. These are the numbers that you basically, we start our journey into mathematics. We start with these guys. We don't play our game of mathematics with the other communities. We start our game inside the community of real numbers. But we have other numbers, which if you square them, they actually become negative. For example, this guy who is represented with the letter I, this fancy guy I, if you square him, he actually becomes -1. So he is not a real number. He is something else. He is called an imaginary number, and that's why this little I, representing him as a kind of a basic member, the very basic member of a set of imaginary numbers. Well, I said imaginary, just imaginary number. Now, imaginary numbers will have different life, but real numbers have a very certain life. If you square them, they never become less than 0. They can become 0, yes. For example, x equals 0. Yes, if you square it, it's still 0. That's fine. It's not negative. But if you take anything that is negative, like -5, and you square it, well, you get 25. You get a positive number. You see, it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive.